What's going on, guys? And to finalize our GCSE Psychology memory section, we're going to be looking at the factors affecting the accuracy of memory, namely context, interference, and false memories. So starting off with, let's look at interference. So to start off with, we're going to look at the study of interference done by McGough and MacDonald in 1931. Now, this was a classic experiment in memory research that investigated retroactive interference. Now, retroactive interference is when new information disrupts the recall of previously learned information. And remember, when it comes to memory, we've got those three parts of the process. We've got encoding, storage, and retrieval. So the aim of the study was to see whether the similarity of new information affects the recall of previously learned materials. The method. Participants first learned a list of adjectives until they could recall them perfectly. Then, they were split into groups and given different types of materials to learn. Example, synonyms, antonyms, nonsense syllables, numbers, or no new list at all. The results of the study. Well, recall of the original list was worse when the new list contained synonyms, so similar material, and best when participants learned numbers or no new material at all. The conclusion of this is that retroactive interference is stronger when the competing information is similar, showing that similarity plays a key role in forgetting. What you guys can see on screen now is just a graph showing the results. So as you can see, when they were synonyms, then very few words were recalled, and when no new words were learned, then the recall was far higher, showing that if we learn new information that is similar to the information that we had previously, that is more likely to have an impact on us forgetting the information that we learned first. Context. So Godden and Baddeley's 1975 study aimed to investigate context-dependent memory, specifically how the environment in which information is learned and recalled affects memory performance. The aim of the study was to investigate whether memory is affected by the context in which information is learned and recalled, specifically whether recall is better when learning and recall takes place in the same environment. So with this one, it was like on land or underwater. The methodology. So we had participants, and these participants were all deep sea divers. They weren't just kind of your average people, they were trained deep sea divers. The design of the experiment was a repeated measures test. The procedure. Divers learned lists of words either on land or underwater. They were then asked to recall the words either in the same environment or in the different environment, creating 4 different conditions. So land, water, water, land, or water, water. So those were the different conditions in which they learned the information and needed to recall that information. So what do you think happened? Well, I'll tell you. The results. Recall was significantly better when the learning and recall environment matched, so land and land. So when they learned the information on land and had to recall the information on land, or when they learned the information in underwater and had to recall it underwater. When the environment differed, so when they learned it on land and had to recall it in water, or when they learned the information in water and had to recall it in land, recall dropped by around 40%. So that's quite significant. Conclusion is that memory is context dependent. So recall is improved when the external context at learning matches the context of recall. This supports the idea that environmental cues help trigger memory. It's a shame that we can't sit our exams in the same room that we learned our information in, right? Here you guys on screen can see a graph showing the results from Godley and Baddeley's study. False memories. So Loftus and Pickrell's 1995 classic study in cognitive psychology on false memories aimed to investigate whether it is possible to implant a false memory of an event that never happened, in this case being lost in a shopping centre as a child, or a mall if you're from America, but over in England we usually say a shopping centre. The method. But we had 24 individuals, those participants, they were all recruited, each accompanied by a close family member, example, a parent or older sibling. The procedure. Each participant was given a booklet containing 4 short stories about their childhood. 3 of these events were true, so they were provided by the family member, and 1 was a false event, being lost in a shopping centre at around age 5. Participants were asked to read each story and write down what they remembered about each event. After about a week, they were interviewed twice to discuss their memories of the events and to rate how clear and confident they were about each memory. At the end, participants were debriefed and told that one of the stories was in fact false. So what were the findings? Well, about 25% of them, that's like roughly 6 out of 24 of the participants, falsely remembered all or part of the made up story, Lost in the Mall, as if it had actually happened. Even after being told that one story was false, some participants continued to believe the false memory was real. The conclusion is that the study shows that false memories can be implanted through suggestion and that people can confuse imagined events with real memories. This has important implications for the reliability of things like eyewitness testimony and memory in general. So next time that you're having an argument with your friend about the way something happened between you guys in the past, just keep that in mind. Hopefully this gives you guys a better understanding in regards to how factors can affect memory and memory recall. That concludes the content for the memory module for you guys GCSE Psychology study. But for the next video, we're going to be looking at specific questions around memory. There are going to be some elements that you guys aren't going to be too familiar with yet, as they veer more towards the research methods. But stay tuned, we will be covering that shortly. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.